Yes, guys, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. I'm Gianni Battici. I'm joined by regular co-host Mr. Dean Jones. Dean, how are you, mate?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Yeah, I'm good. Better than Newcastle fans, probably. It's got to
I was
hurt.
meant to replace my backdrop with AC Milan shirts today. Damn.
You got one there. You got one
I
right
got
in the corner.
one, but I wanted to do all six. I thought about this
Uh,
last night in bed. I even nearly came downstairs for a selfie to post on Twitter before I went to bed.
yeah, yeah. It was a weird one from Newcastle that game. I thought because um, my feeling on it, mate, is a little bit that Newcastle are running before they can walk. Like they've kind of skipped a stage of being a Champions League team, and they just kind of
Yeah.
like there was no like in between progression. It was just like we're here. Oh,
Not
someone's
too
giving
cool.
us loads of money. Oh, we got a quite good manager. We got some. Oh, wow, we're in the Champions League. And oh, we're in the group of death. Oh, we got a chance to make it through to the last 16. Everyone just attack. If we score one more goal, we're going to stay in the Champions League. As it is, they lost their place even in the Europa
In
League, and it's
Europa.
like you're probably actually a Europa League team at the
Yeah.
moment. Like
You
that's
might even
probably
go
your
on and win the Europa. Like that's a good competition for Newcastle this season.
weird, isn't it?
Drawn one
Weird,
all.
isn't it? So I'm a bit confused by the fact that they can do that. And now I think what happens is that there's a bit of a different pressure on this team and the manager now because they've been. Look, nobody probably expects them to get out of that group anyway. But the fact they're out of the Europa as well, and they've got all these injuries, means things could unravel a little bit from here. And very difficult to predict in FPL terms. You know, my Fulham team are going to Newcastle at the
Yeah.
weekend, and who knows? Who knows what you're getting from that game?
They'll score, won't they? Fulham will
I'd
score in that
expect so,
fixture.
mate.
They've scored 13 in the last 3 games. Like
And
I don't think Newcastle clean sheet is happening this week.
I mean, I wouldn't expect it. It could happen, but I wouldn't expect it. And even I would have said that, to be honest, even if we hadn't just had 2-5-0s,
Would you? Yeah.
because of because of the way that Newcastle have been undone recently. Fulham have that capability too in terms of having the pace and the break and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
No Kieran Trippier for this game either. Mr. C, did Gordon go off injured or just get subbed? He is flagged, isn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Um,
Eddie Howe did say he's had some discomfort and he
yeah.
felt something in his hamstring, but he felt
Yeah,
that a
so
couple of games ago, apparently.
yeah, so he's obviously been playing with that. So that's all a little bit tricky right now. But yeah, Newcastle, from where we were with Newcastle assets, certainly looking very different now through this Christmas period, isn't it?
Even Wilson back last night. You're like, if you've got Isak, you're gonna have the willy won't he every week with those two. So again, like just steer clear and don't buy
Yeah.
either, probably, unless one's injured. But I thought last night was fascinating because, as you say, Dean, at 1-1, you're in the Europa League. That's big. Game management. You don't need to push for a win. But
Yeah.
with the fans there, it's almost like the Newcastle fans expect this team to be like a top two in their group team. Now, look, don't get me wrong, Newcastle would have qualified out of a lot of groups and they played relatively well.
Yeah.
But I tweeted last night and I've got quite a lot of stick from this. Welcome to the big boy league. Like, I'm sorry, you're on a different journey to Dortmund, PSG, and Milan. Like, so much pedigree and seasoned pros in those teams. They do it every season. They know how to qualify out of groups.
Yeah.
For me, like they were a class apart. Newcastle were good, but they weren't. When you look at those games, Newcastle picked up a point away in Milan. They picked up a point away in Paris. Now, both of those games, they got absolutely smashed. Like how they got through with a point. Yeah, or late penalty. Sorry, PSG's XG in that game was 5. Like it was ridiculous. So look, I think it was about right. It finished about right. Milan were poor and didn't deserve to qualify either, but deserved third, and Newcastle ready for fourth. So
Yeah.
it's interesting because it's ruined the English coefficient now. Like they might not get the 5 Champions League spaces.
Yeah, that's true. And look, they've lost their last 3 games. ISG says Newcastle not ready 1 or 2 seasons too early. That's kind of the point that I was making a minute ago. And there's going to be that temptation now to rip everything up and start going big. That's what their owners will be tempted to do.
You
Of
reckon?
course they will. Yeah. And that's the
Backlash.
danger. You know, you're already reading yesterday about Mourinho being linked. Suddenly you go from Eddie Howe to Mourinho. Suddenly you're going to start giving up on the guys that you've started to bring into the midfield and stuff. And be like, oh, but could we just go and sign somebody who's played 30 games in the Champions League already? And
not seeing Miley again for a decade.
that's the problem. Like those guys, like you don't want them to be left on the by the wayside in in the wake of this fallout. But that's the danger that they'll be putting themselves in now. So it'll be really interesting to see how that pans out. But Newcastle, yeah, they're definitely not in great form right now, or condition, let's face it, because they are absolutely shot to pieces from all the effort that they've been putting in. Thanks for everyone that's jumping in the chat right now. Kareem says, I asked you about best Fulham assets. You pointed to Iwobi, but I like Raul. Well, look, Raul had scored like no goals all season. He got one in the cup, and there's like really no point in me pointing you there. But Raul Jimenez is definitely benefiting from a new look Fulham. Fulham are playing differently at the moment. Now, I still think I would trust Fulham a bit more at home than I would away. But yeah, we do look good. Raul Jimenez, still personally, I wouldn't pick him. But if you want to go there, Kareem, then you can see what I can see. The guy's finally got some confidence. He hasn't played badly all season. He just hasn't looked that much of a threat in front of goal. Now he's got his radar switched on. Maybe that'll change.
Dean, can I just say, since you said that, Iwobi has had a 14-pointer and a 6-pointer and is only 5.3 million and 0.8% owned. That was a fantastic shout.
It was, mate.
Iwobi is doing very well in his bracket.
This is one of the things of the eye test. Obviously, when you're watching a player all season and you're watching him up close, and Iwobi's been good every game, but he just didn't have a role within the team. And at first, he was coming on as sub, and then he was getting starts, but in various positions. And now that they're finding a way to make him work as to complement Raul Jimenez, but also working closely with Andreas Pereira as well, Iwobi will probably emerge to be Fulham's best player across this season, I would imagine, from what we've seen so far. And in terms of goal threat, he's always amongst it. Always.
Yeah. Nice. Guys, I'm going to ask for you to hit that like button. But look, here's a deal. You've only got to do it if you enjoy my Haaland update. I'm now going to give you 2 minutes on where we're at with Erling Haaland, okay? And this is very much from the FPL Twitter community. Some of this will be news to you. Some of it won't be. But for background, what do we know about Erling Haaland? Well, let's get started. And if you like this, remember, hit the like button. So at the weekend, we saw he was out, and Pep comes out and says we're hopeful he'll be around for Saudi. We're hopeful he'll be around for Crystal Palace, but no one knows anything. By Monday, some of the FPL nerds, including our friend FPL Focal, does some proper good research, some proper good digging. He goes and looks at Erling Haaland and his FPL team and sees he's in a mini league with his dad and some of his friends. Now he accesses his dad's and his friends' teams. It's all public information, and sees that his dad and his friends, a lot of Erling Haaland's closest and family members and friends, transferred him out before the deadline last week. So they clearly knew he was injured. Like, they're like, Erling Haaland's injured, we're going to sell him in FPL. Yeah. Now, the question comes down to, are these casual managers that would sell someone if they were red flagged or injured for 1 week, or are they seasoned pros and going, he's going to miss a few weeks, therefore he's a sell? Well, looking at their overall rank history, we've gone one step further here in our level of research. Yeah. These are good managers, right? The Scandies love FPL. They're good managers. So you asked the question, like, these guys, Haaland's dad, Haaland's best mate, they wouldn't have transferred him out if he was just out for 1 week. They think he's going to be out for a few weeks. That's the general consensus. So then we get on to Tuesday, Wednesday, and Pep says Haaland's going to return to training on Thursday. Now, is that just a flippant footballer returns to work on Thursday and he could be in the gym? Maybe. Or is that we actually think he's got a good chance of playing for Palace? He's then been pictured in Marbella yesterday. And you're like, is he just on a holiday, or is he going to be in Marbella for a few days? So the saga continues. There is also one other element to this story. After the game week deadline last week, there was a post from a FPL account, FPL Tony, an ITK, and in the know, who suggested Haaland was injured. This was before any mainstream media had reported it. So whilst it didn't help us for our FPL teams, although FPL Tony himself had transferred Haaland out, we all looked at it and went, Haaland's out, who we got the vice captain on? And all that news broke because of this one in the know tweet, FPL Tony. FPL Tony last night randomly tweeted a GIF of Haaland celebrating a goal. No words, just Haaland celebrating. Is FPL Tony still in the know? And does FPL Tony know about Haaland actually being fit this weekend? Because that GIF might might suggest that actually he's ready for Crystal Palace. So watch this space. Don't transfer Haaland out yet. Have a plan for both with or without Haaland. I think by Friday deadline, we're going to know one way or another. It might be from Pep, it might be from training ground photos, or it might be from FPL Tony, or even one of Haaland's dad or brother's accounts. But we will have some ITK information. Dean, what do you reckon to all of that?
I think that's extremely stressful. I cannot believe the amount of work that has gone on there, but it's incredible investigative stuff. And I'm none the wiser. I'm absolutely none the wiser.
No one is. We're just speculating. Yeah, crazy.
But I love it. And to be honest, it's very similar to what I have to go through on a daily basis in my job digging around transfers, because what I have in my work is, obviously I have contacts that I rely on for information at various clubs or just intermediaries or just know stuff, whatever. And that's the core of your information. But then what happens is someone will tweet something, or you read something or see something that somebody's put out in the public domain, and it makes you rethink what you heard from good information in the first place, and then you're second guessing all the time. And that's the biggest problem in my work, is that there has to be an element of trust and guesswork in it. A lot of the time, not always obviously, but like a lot of the time you're going on secondhand information, because you don't, whether it's an injury, whether it's a transfer, you're not in the room to hear it, and you're relying on somebody that has heard it from a player or from a manager, and then they, for whatever reason, are passing it on to you, and you have to figure out, again, why are they telling me this? Yeah. Are they saying this is a decoy? Are they trying to build a move to somewhere else? And it's the same, we come back to here, is why is this information coming out? Is this guy FPL Tony just had the punt of his life, and he's like suddenly probably gained a load of followers? Or is he a reliable ITK that is going to be the go-to guy for the foreseeable future on Man City?
Yeah, it's really interesting. And how long will he have that crown for? We will, if he returns to training today, which is what Pep said. Usually the clubs put out training ground photos, social media, their Instagram, their website. I feel like the Haaland news, because Pep's the way he is, it might be a case of him briefing the media team to go, upload some photos of the team training, but not all the players. I don't want Haaland in any of the photos. So even if we don't see him in training ground photos, it still doesn't mean he's definitely not trained.
What? So was he in Marbella yesterday, or photos were out from him in Marbella yesterday?
Well, someone on Twitter said, I've just picked up my daughter from school and in Marbella, and I saw Haaland with his niece or something. And there's a photo of Haaland in Marbella. But whether or not that photo is an old photo and that's fake news, I don't know. But we know he hasn't been involved with the Champions League squad. And even if he's not injured, knowing he's had that rest and had that injury, players do get a couple of days off. And if they want to fly to Marbella, they can, right? Like Pep might allow that.
Maybe. I mean, look, one thing for sure is it used to be boring FPL in the sense that you didn't have any choice to make over captaincy, and it was just going to be Haaland every week. And we thought, it's going to be so dull because 85% of people are just going to captain Haaland every week and there's no differential. Well, that is absolutely dead. Not only do we not know whether to captain Haaland, we don't even know whether to have him in the team, have him on the bench, or to sell him. Like, that is literally, it could be any of those three options for this weekend. And as it stands right this second, I'm none the wiser as to what I'll definitely do.
Yeah, I've got my A and my B based on if we get clarity on Haaland from Pep or from the training ground photos or from a leak. But what adds more jeopardy to this is the blank next week. If we can look at the fixtures, actually, let's talk through the next 4 weeks, because what makes a Haaland sell easier this week is, of course, the blank game week in 18. We can see there, the bottom of the ticker in black. It's Crystal Palace at home, which, of course, if he's around, he's captainable. Mm-hmm. But then the blank. Now, if you sell him this week, let's assume he's out for Palace. You don't need to worry about him in 18. How do you buy him back in 19? If you're using those Haaland funds to go upgrade a Darwin to a Watkins, for example, which is what my plan is to do, I'd have to go game week 19. Let's assume he's back fit without Haaland. But I think that's okay. But game week 20, Sheffield United at home, the world and their dog are going to captain Haaland that week. You need Haaland for game week 20. So how do you get Haaland for 20? Well, fortunately, there's two players in the game we all own who we're going to be selling from game week 21 onwards. and that is Salah and that is Son because of the Asia Cup and AFCON. And we'll look at those schedules in a minute. So my thinking is, in game week 20, can I sell Salah or Son a week early and use that money to get Haaland back? And that's what my plan will be.
Okay.
Now, I don't want to sell Son. He's got Bournemouth at home, but I think I could go without Salah for a week. Newcastle at home could be a low ceiling fixture, although you never know with Salah. Could I get the money at? Could I go into game week 20 with 2 free transfers? Salah goes down to Richarlison and Solanke, or Darwin goes up to Haaland.
Yeah.
That's my loose plan. And I quite think this is going to be fun. If Haaland's out, it's more fun. This is cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is it gives everybody a bit of new hope. I mean, if you're at the top end of FPL right now, then you're obviously probably a bit more nervous because you've got more to lose if you've got Haaland in your team, and you make the wrong decision, you could lose your position. But if you're chasing, like I definitely am, then it's the time to take a gamble and the time when you can actually make up some ground. I think the guy most people are saying Solanke is the guy that comes in for Haaland this week if you're gonna make the transfer.
Top of the ticker.
Yeah, it is a good pick, but I don't know what I genuinely expect from Solanke in that game. Like, people are talking like Solanke's going to Luton to play Luton and get a hat trick.
Crime like, R9.
Yeah, honestly, like that, he is being talked up like he is the second coming of Ronaldo, but he's not. So that, and he's not Haaland either. So I don't think everyone goes there. I know that this community largely will go there, but have to be some other options that you contemplate just in case that's not the case. And whether, some people do end up going Raul Jimenez or something like that, then maybe it's a different route to take. I guess the one thing you would say, though, is there aren't that many reliable goal scorers around in the Premier League right now.
That's the problem. And there's a lot, like, I don't know, Richarlison. You might go, oh, he's back in the team, playing number 9. He's listed as a midfielder, so you can't get to him. You could go, oh, and Kunku at Chelsea's going to get minutes. Well, he's not going to start games yet, even though they've got the fixtures. So it is slim pickings. I mean, another one we don't have, or some don't have, is Ollie Watkins. If you went Darwin, for example, we can see there the Villa fixtures aren't bad. We definitely want Watkins again by 18, but maybe not this week. Yeah, Solanke is someone I really want to buy. I just feel like he's due a haul. He has been playing well. They've won 5 and 7 in the Prem. He's the 90-minute man over Christmas. He doesn't have the European football to contend with. You could say similar with Raul Jimenez, just the Solanke fixtures are slightly better, I guess. Guys, let us know what you're planning to do in the chat, and do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's good to see over 160 of you currently watching. If you're watching on catch up, do drop a comment as well. Let us know your thoughts for the game week or any random question. We will, of course, get back to you on that one. Shall we look? So my plan of selling Haaland, not having him in 18, not having him in 19, but having him back for 20, as I said, involves selling a Salah or a Son. The big question is, who's at the AFCON, who's at the Asia Cup, and when and how long will they be out of our teams for? Because some have said, do you definitely have to sell them? What if they only miss 2 games? But we're about to show you a graphic which will suggest they're going to be out for a fair few games. And shout out here to Rob T FPL. Do follow him on Twitter. I ripped this from his Twitter page, but it's so good. They're very similar tournaments in terms of timeline. Let's stick with AFCON. That affects more players. And the likes of Kudus at West Ham and Awani at Forest and Decore at Everton and Burma at Brentford and Nana at United. There's big names, but Salah is the biggest. Adingra, Visser, Jackson at Chelsea. Like, some of these are popular FPL assets or have been. But when we look at the red boxes here, they're definitely going to be unavailable for them, right? The orange means they could be around, and the green means they'll likely be back. So if we think Salah is going to get to the semi-finals, we can see there he's going to miss game week 21, 22, 23, 24, and possibly 25. So the big question comes down to, do you think a Son or a Salah reaches the latter stages? And if they get into the semi-finals, they're missing 4 games minimum, possibly 5. You have to sell them for me, right, Dean?
Yeah, I mean, definitely sell. You've got to assume, like, obviously these tournaments are a little unpredictable, but there also aren't that many players many teams with players of this pedigree that can actually carry their countries through to the latter stages. So you're looking at least 3, like surely at least 3 weeks to be written off here, and It's just not worth. I just don't see, like, it's one thing if somebody's injured and they might come back. Like if someone's at a tournament like that, playing in the countries that they are in those tournaments, I just don't see any point in keeping them. And it's a real conundrum for me because I've got both. I've got Haaland and I've got the same headache as, you know, a lot of people will have right now. And I genuinely haven't given this enough consideration at all about how I'll approach this.
Yeah, I mean, if Haaland stays, for me, I won't need the money come game week 20 to bring him back, and therefore selling these guys, I guess I wait till game week 21 and sell them. There is the consideration, I guess you could go, maybe I sell one and keep one and have a stronger bench, because money's not going to be an issue even if you sell one. We're not going to be replacing them with players of the same value because there's no good midfield options in that price bracket of Son and Salah that you'd buy. You might go down to a Richarlison at 6.6. Therefore, you might be able to afford to bench one. But when I look at this, I look at the Asia Cup and I compare Son's South Korea with some of the teams he'll be playing against. And I feel like, and I have not looked at this, but I feel like South Korea, along with, I'm guessing, Japan, are the strong favourites for the Asia Cup. And those two are head and shoulders. When you look at the AFCON teams, sure, Egypt's always there or thereabouts, but there's a chance they could go out early because there's strength and depth there in terms of their competition. So in terms of coming home sooner or later, I know Son's going to be missing till the semi-finals. Surely he is, or certainly to the quarterfinals. There is a chance Salah could go out in the groups or the round of 16. Therefore, maybe if you're going to keep one, he's the one, because you could only miss 2 games of Mo Salah if he goes out in the round of 16, for example. Yeah. It's an interesting one. I mean, what's your take, Dean? You know more about international football than I do, and I'm guessing most of the chat. Son is backed to go very far. Salah should, but that's no guarantee, right? Is that a fair assumption?
I think that Egypt, they're second favourites.
Are they?
Yeah, I think Senegal are the favourites. So I would expect that we won't be seeing Salah. And I don't know. I just tried to quickly look it up while you're talking. I was trying to find the Asia Cup odds, but I can't. There's no easy list to quickly grab up. But yeah, Son will be expected to certainly get towards the latter stages too. So there's going to be little doubt in us seeing them over those first few weeks, like I mentioned. And so I think it's a case of having to get rid. I saw someone a second ago saying the plan was to, here we go, Leo's good. I'm benching Salah and Son during AFCON and upgrading my bench under that time. That's my plan. That is
not both.
That's just
I think I'll sell both.
Yeah, it's just so big to have that on your bench, knowing they're not even here.
For 5 games. That's not 2 games. If it's 5 games, like that's a big chunk of the season. Yeah, they're also going to drop in value because everyone else is going to sell them. So your assets are getting less valuable. Their price will drop. You could sell them at one price and buy them back in a month's time for a lot less. It's a good way of boosting your team value.
Yeah, it could seem fine for the first couple of weeks, but as you say, then it starts to drop away. And Mr. T says, I'm going to sell Son, keep Salah, nowhere to spend the Salah money. It's a fair point.
Yeah. That's a fair point. If you do spend all the money of these players, when you need to buy them back, and boy, you will want to buy them back in game week 25 or 26 because they're great FPL assets, it might be difficult if you've allocated the funds to other places. So I'm not saying go and spend all the money, but I am saying sell them and buy them back, but maybe have that plan also. We've got a plan getting rid of them, but we need to plan buying them back too. Other players of note, it isn't just Son and Salah. I've mentioned some of the other African players. Fewer are going to the Asia Cup from the Premier League. Tommy Asu, who's been injured, but some have. Matoma's still highly owned, and Hwang's highly owned too. So it's not just Son and it's not just Salah. It's going to catch a lot of managers by surprise. The good thing is we've got weeks to plan for it now. Like this isn't happening till game week 21.
I think that the one thing that benefit all of us is that the casual will surely get hit here.
Yeah.
And this season, I do feel like a lot of casuals are having good seasons. Without having to think too deep. They're just picking players that they like the look of for match of the day or the teams that they support and watch. And they're getting away with that so far. And I think it's pretty rare that the knowledge that you build up through channels like this, through Twitter and all the rest of the resources that you dip into as being like an FPL nut like yourself, it's impossible that doesn't eventually rise to the surface and give you the edge. And you would like to think that even just us discussing this right now, is giving us an element of knowledge that most people picking their team for this weekend absolutely are not considering. And of course, you could argue the other way. Well, you're overthinking it. Just deal with it when it comes. We'll see that they're not playing. We'll figure it out. And then we could just take them out. And I think that, as I've said to you before, just playing on a hunch can help you sometimes and not getting involved in it because you're like, oh, I've got to pick a player. And you just blind pick someone. But he's also complete luck. I do feel like there's a luck side to this and a skill side to it. And you'd like to believe the skill comes out on top. And I think that this is going to be the telling time in the season for that to come through. You know, there's going to be so much changing. See what comes out in the wash after the Christmas period and where all these teams sit. Then we'll have this Asia and African Cup, and then we'll have the transfer window going on at the same time. We'll also have the FA Cup going on. We got you'll have the premise of the Champions League resuming and all the rest of that. So like the season's going to suddenly take on all these different little narratives. And so I think that it'll be interesting to see how we get. Kareem says dead teams are getting better points. Yeah, I know.
You know it. You know it. We're going to overthink it, aren't we? Mr. T makes a good point too. It does depend when you bought the likes of Salah and Son as to how much you'll make. So, for example, Mr. T's example, we might be able to bring it up. It's a good one. He bought Salah at 12.5. He's now 13.2. He gets 12.8 as a selling price. He'd have to drop a lot to buy back for less than that 12.8. Will he drop to 12.8? Probably not. Probably right. He'll probably drop 0.2, 0.3, won't he?
Yeah.
So maybe you do actually lose out a little bit, but it's worth it for those 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, if you think Salah's going to go quarterfinals or beyond, if you think Salah could go out in the round of 16, then of course you're not going to sell. 2 weeks just to buy him back seems silly. But definitely worth considering. We've got our first super chat. Hello.
In a while.
Yeah.
We forgot we had this.
Christopher Rye. Christopher Rye's only been watching, I think, a couple of shows, so it's good to have you in there, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
He says team values poor. Make Haller Solanke now. Okay, Haaland to Solanke move now and save 0.2. Oh, I'm with you. Right. If you make the move that you might make tomorrow anyway, now you might save money because Solanke's going up in price. Haaland will take a price drop.
Yeah.
I personally would worry more about points over pounds and therefore just go, the information is king here. Because if Haaland is fit and you've sold him to Solanke and Haaland scores a hat-trick against Palace, all because he's not in your team, all because you made an early transfer, you're going to feel sick. Like, Haaland isn't actually dropping in price tonight. I'm just looking. He needs another 80. He needs another 848,000 managers to sell. He needs nearly 1 million managers to sell him until he drops. That's not going to happen tonight. You might get a couple of 100,000. Solanke, however, is going to go up in price. He needs another 3,000 managers to buy him, and he'll go up tonight.
That'll happen.
Bearing in mind, he's probably already had a couple of 100,000 buy him this game week. He's already gone up once this game week. So he's going to have a 0.2 price rise just this week. I still think it's okay. Wait till Friday. If you pay more for Solanke, you pay more for Solanke.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. British says flavour of the week: Porro with a side of Solanke. I like that a lot. That does seem like a very good order to have. British, very much indeed. But yeah, I think that's pretty well covered, mate. I think certainly we've given ourselves a little bit of an edge there in terms of like planning our teams. But obviously, it's still this Haaland dilemma that's going to be in the back of our minds, actually the front of our minds going into tomorrow.
Yeah, indeed. I think in terms of checking out those price rises and drops, Mr. T says, is that from FPL statistics? And yes, it is. Free to use, www.fplstatistics.co.uk. Check it out. There's other places you can go. Some of them you have to pay for, but FPL Statistics is as accurate as any other. It's not always bang on, but it's pretty accurate. Let's move away from the AFCON and Asia Cup then and talk a little bit about, we'll move to our teams in just a sec, shall we, Dean? What's the plan? I mean, this is like our deadline, isn't it? The deadline is tomorrow, so we'll do our teams and we'll do the chaser team. I think we're just waiting for them to be created by our producer, so they'll be ready soon to show you guys. Before we do, maybe we can do a little bit of I think they are ready. Okay. In that case, should we show our teams and then we'll do a bit of questions later in the show?
Yep.
Good job.
Right then. What to do with
comments? Are you captaining Gordon?
Yeah, I'm not captaining Gordon. I don't even know if I'm keeping Gordon at this stage. I've got to figure out exactly what I'm doing with the team, see what condition Gordon's actually in, see what condition Newcastle were in after the turmoil they've been through last night. And yeah, really figuring out who in this team I can actually expect points from. Because when I go through it right now, off the top of my head, I'm looking like Dubravka. Can I trust him to bring home any points? Not really. Maguire away to Liverpool and a flag by him. That's not looking good, is it? Gabriel at Brighton, well, he's going to have to stay. Gabriel's definitely going to be there. Tsimikas is definitely going to have to be here for now. Into the midfield, Palmer seems a pretty good bet for this weekend.
Yeah, I like that one.
He's fine. Now, I don't love having Luis Diaz and Salah, both of them for this game, but also I'm very much aware that this could end up being another new low for Man United if Liverpool rip them apart, like they might be capable of doing. Man United are obviously just a complete unknown quantity. We don't know when the good performances are going to come or the truly bad ones, but there's definitely the potential for this to be a truly bad one. So I'll have to hope I get some points off the back of these two. Son, obviously, no brainer. Gordon, I don't know if I'm keeping. Alvarez, absolutely staying. Watkins, obviously staying. And then there's the whole Haaland dilemma. So I've really got 3 or 4 selection dilemmas, and I've only got 1 transfer to actually use here. So I've got to hold out and find out whether Haaland is likely to even be around, and then whether I keep him or not. My instinct had been to keep Haaland and just try and get through this spell. But knowing that so many people are going for Solanke, knowing that Maguire's looking like a bit of a risk for this week, let's put it that way. Again, another week when I'm not liking my goalkeeper pick, like just better off playing without a goalkeeper at this point. It's so few points. Yeah, so there's a lot to be decided here. We got a super chat in. Is this a super chat that just popped up? Yes.
Oh, love that. From Qatar.
Lovely. Appreciate that. Says Haaland for Watkins or Solanke or Gehi for Porro. Definitely Gehi for Porro.
Yeah, definitely make the Gehi out Porro move.
Is it Gehi out Porro in and then Haaland?
I love that move. I'd be tempted to definitely make that move and then consider the other one for a hit if Haaland's out. But Porro in makes complete sense. He is the defender to buy in this game at the moment. The Spurs fixtures are all right. You're going to get attacking returns. I bought Porro for a hit last week. Haaland out for Solanke or Watkins. It depends. If you go Solanke, you've got a great run of 3 games. If you go Watkins, you've probably got the best captaincy option next game week.
Yeah.
You might be able to go one this week and one the next week. If you can, Solanke this week and then go Watkins for whoever your second striker is, Darwin, to Watkins next week and go Solanke this. Because Watkins, remember, plays Sheffield United in game week 18 at home. Salah plays Arsenal, so I don't think we're captaining Saka or Salah. Son plays Everton at home, but Everton have been pretty good. I think many of us will be captaining Ollie Watkins, who plays Sheffield United at home in game week 18. So bear that in mind. But yeah, Dean, back to your team. I've just tweeted the thanks for your question, AM, and for the super chat. I've just put in the chat the odds. I've done it twice. The second one's better. It's clearer. We can bring it up. Here we go. I put some spaces in on these ones. These are clean sheet odds. So I guess I've got a couple of questions for you. This is just bookies odds, right?
Yeah.
As always, Man City more likely to keep a clean sheet than most. You've got Tsimikas there in your starting 11. He is 36% likely to keep a clean sheet compared to Lascelles at 33%. Is that an easy decision for you based on... Because in my team, I think I had Lascelles in my 11 and Tsimikas benched earlier this week. And I'm having a bit of a headache over that. But do you think Liverpool against United, knowing how United have been playing, that's accurate? That more chance of a clean sheet than Newcastle?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
I do think it's fair. Yeah, I mean, I really like Haaland. Like, I think he's going to be a good player, but he still doesn't have a Premier League goal. In midweek, he did. I read something that said he didn't have a shot or a touch in the box or something.
Wow.
And he's just, that's not great. And then obviously around him, there's this ongoing narrative about the lack of goals across the front line. Against Liverpool of all teams, I just struggle to see exactly where United's goal was going to come from in this game. So I think it's probably fair, especially knowing that Newcastle were shorter numbers. Fulham are the most free-scoring team in the Premier League right now.
Fair.
think I do trust. Yeah, I do trust that Liverpool are more likely for a clean sheet.
I think I'm going to go Simicast too then, based on that. I don't know. I dropped Lascelles in earlier the game week and thought, yeah, Lascelles. I was surprised when I saw these odds. But then I guess you also have to consider the upside. Who could get a goal or an assist? And definitely Simicast over Lascelles on that front too.
Yeah, that's true. British says, "Why is Lascelles on your bench? Maguire out." And this is just my squad. This is not any reflection on what I'm doing. Hence the Gordon captaincy. This is just me shifting players into the team and putting Haaland on the bench, which is because it's likely to be the case that he doesn't play. But yeah, very, very strange moment for me with this team. I wish I hadn't used that wild card when I did. That's for sure. But yeah, nothing else to say. I've got this dilemma to take over Haaland, and if not, I might get rid of Maguire.
Yeah, the fixtures aren't overly kind, and if
really
he's injured as well.
Yeah.
Simicast playing late on Super Sunday is more exciting. Yeah, John, keep your options open. It's like, I've still got a player left in the Sunday late game.
Nothing better, is there? No, none of your players have played yet.
Although I had that with Porro and then I had the clean sheet wipeout. So that wasn't a great Super Sunday. Trippier is suspended too. Yeah. And talking of suspensions, let me blast 4 or 5 big FPL assets out who were suspended this game week because of 5 yellow cards. Right. And remember, that's wiped after game week 19. If you got 5 yellows, you miss a match. That includes this week Trippier, Bruno Fernandes, Branthwaite, Luca Dean. There's a couple more. You can put them in the chat. Some of you might know them, but there's some big names there. Highly owned FPL assets who are suspended this game week. Shall we have a look at my team? And then it's the Chaser team. Guys, get ready because we're going to be doing polls galore for the Chaser team. Oh, I love the Chaser. Charlie Taylor, that's another one. Good one. Yeah, I've got him. He's suspended. The good thing about these suspensions is Douglas Luiz, FPL Freddie, well played. They're the other two I couldn't think of. Mm-hmm. Those players will now definitely be back for game week 18, which is the blank. Now, that's when you definitely need them because without Man City or Brentford, you might have a bit of a benching headache. For example, Dean's got Alvarez. He's probably going to keep, but will have to bench. I've got Foden. I'll have to keep, but I'll have to bench. So you want players like Charlie Taylor available. Let's have a look at my team then. Similar to Dean, I've got 1 free transfer. I think I've got a similar amount of money in the bank, just under $1 million. With that money I've got in the bank, I did have the exact funds to go Darwin to Watkins this week if I wanted to. There's been a price drop or a price rise for one of them, and I can't do that now. Palmer is on 4 yellows. Yes, good point, British 87. He hasn't got the 5th yet. If Darwin starts tonight for Liverpool, Dean, is Darwin first choice still? That's my question. Because if he starts tonight, I'm going to be doubting that, and I'm going to go, well, Hackpo come in and play for United because he's been playing. He was first choice. He's played so badly.
Yeah, I think so. And I think
this could be the game then. This could be the game.
I think that a fixture like this is kind of. Imagine if Darwin was to put in that performance that he is capable of and scores the goals that he is capable of in a fixture like this. Like it's the sort of moment they want to probably ignite him.
Yeah,
and I can feel like Klopp would give him that platform. That's what I think. It's such a tough call for us, especially until we can gauge from a press conference what the actual feeling is around it. So I'm saying this with some skepticism, I have to say. But I feel like if they're going to trust Darwin Núñez, if he's going to live up to what they want him to be and believe he can be, then the way you build his confidence is say, it's Man United at home. It's the biggest game of our season. You are starting, go and score. Yeah, that's what I would be building him up right now. I would just keep building the guy up.
Yeah, okay. I just hope he doesn't start tonight, but I don't think he will. And I think you're right. Like the United fixture for Darwin could be quite nice. So that's my plan. Like if Haaland is fit, I roll the transfer. There's no fires I need to put out. I'd definitely play Darwin versus that disruptive Man United defense with Edon. Aston Villa Bozzy. Yeah, you're right. It's just my plan is I need to get Watkins by 18. Right?
Yeah.
That Sheffield United home fixture for Watkins is probably going to be my captain. So if I roll this, let's say Haaland's fit, I roll this week. Next week, I then think about how I go from Darwin, who plays Arsenal, to get Watkins back in. And that could be, I don't know. I don't know where I get that 0.1 or 0.2 from. I have to probably downgrade a defender. Maybe Lascelles if we think Botman's going to be back soon. I don't know. Maybe it's Simicast's time to go or Gabriel. I'm obviously not selling Porro, and I can't really downgrade a Taylor or a Mabama. So I've got to think about that if Haaland's fit. I'm really hoping Haaland's not fit. It's better for my team, but it adds more chaos to the game.
Yeah.
If Haaland's injured, I sell Haaland. I buy Dom Solanke.
Yeah.
Next week, I have loads of money, so I can go Mabama out for Watkins.
Yeah.
Lovely that. And then game week 19, I have to go without Haaland. He goes to Everton. He could punish me. I watch from behind the sofa. I roll the transfer. This is assuming you get no other injuries, by the way, or flags.
Yeah.
And then by game week 20, I've got 2 free transfers. Haaland to Sheffield United. In he pops. And I downgrade Mo Salah, who's about to go off to the AFCON. And maybe Richarlison.
Sounds great, mate.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we'll get any injuries or suspensions that F up my plans. And of course, that's still without like making a goalkeeper or a defender transfer that stuff might pop up. But in theory, that's what I want to do. If Haaland's fit, though, it means no Dom Solanke, and it means I've got to try and figure out how I get Watkins in my team next week. So yeah, it'll be a bit of a nightmare. I'm hoping I can get rid of Haaland. I mean, you could say, Gianni, just get rid of Haaland anyway. If he's fit, you miss him out. You miss out of Palace. No, if Haaland's fit for Palace and playing, he has to be in your team, doesn't he?
That's the problem. If it's because it's Crystal Palace at home, isn't it? Like that is just a fixture that you just can't ignore. This is like this apply if it was Fulham, if it was Burnley, if it was Luton, if it was Sheffield United. There's 6 or 7 teams that you see Haaland home to them. You're like, okay, hat-trick potential, like mauling potential. And as soon as you get that vibe, even though it hasn't really been there for Man City recently, you really struggle to shake it off.
So Dom Solanke versus Luton can't cover Haaland versus Palace. He just can't. It's Dom Solanke. This isn't Prime R9.
Does Haaland know Dom Solanke is?
Okay, if he's fit versus Palace, who'd you captain? Because at the moment, I'm very happy with the armband on Salah. But obviously, with Haaland versus Palace, you're like, oh... But Salah against United in his last 4 averages 17.5 FPL points. He's had 2 20-plus hauls in the last 4. Like, Salah loves playing United. And usually when he plays United, they're not as bad as what they are at now.
I think it's fine. I think it's fine.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah, I think it'll probably be the go-to this week. So many people probably about to dump Haaland anyway, that even having him in your team potentially would be putting you in a good spot. So to have Haaland captain against the Man United team, that could be in disarray. There's definitely potential for that. And there's a potential that Liverpool beat Man United by as many as Man City beat Crystal Palace by, let's face it. So that's
the bookies have that game. The bookies have Liverpool to score more against United than Haaland to score, than City to score against Palace, which is really interesting for the bookies' odds to reflect that, because you would just expect they would go, no, United will put up a fight, but clearly they think there's a mauling there.
It's funny. Ten Hag has recently spoken about a few times about United showing fight and showing this desire. I don't know wherever I'm just not recognizing it, but I don't see it. I do not see that this United team have the same desire and fight, and I don't even know what other words to use, but they're just not there for me. I said last night, we did like a Champions League review show on Ranks FC.
Oh, late night.
And it was a bit of a late night, but I was like, the problem Man United have now got as well that runs a bit deeper is it's so long since they won a Premier League or the Champions League that any player that is now like under 20 has no idea that they were actually that. Like, they hear stories of like Man United were good, but they've never actually seen it. And it's like me growing up, I heard that Liverpool were a good team, but I couldn't see it. So I just thought, oh, that was the olden days. So like any player now that's coming through.
I hear that.
Man United might get worse from here. That's the danger that they're in. I know I've gone a bit of a tangent there, but very, very strange moment for them.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. We're of a similar age, so I completely get that. I like that story. Chris says bookies also have Liverpool to score more against United than Bournemouth to score against Luton. So again, even though we're talking about prime DS9 here, Dom Solanke 9, who I think Ice G suggested in the chat, DS9 will live with me forever. I love that.
Yeah. Matty says, can't believe Dean was like, oh, that's a first super chat. I thought you did this for the love. I said it's a first super chat. I forgot we did them. We are here for the love. I completely forgot we had super chat.
And also the free pints, if you want to buy us one.
There was a little stage we went through of getting like a tenner a week, and we're having a lovely time. Our lifestyle completely changed over those couple of weeks. Matty,
Kids have gone hungry.
Yeah, you don't have to give us any money.
All right, let's move on to the chaser teams. We've got to do some polls. This is going to be really tricky this week because excuse me, we're doing it without the Haaland news. And I don't know how best to suggest we move forward with this. There's 268 of you watching. Thank you for supporting the channel with your questions, your likes, and most importantly, you're subscribing to the channel over the festive period. Thank you, guys. Hit that notification bell when you do. We've got to make a call here. And I don't quite know how to play this, Dean. I think we've got a gamble on Haaland playing. Or, I mean, we can ask the chat, do you want to sell Haaland, yes or no? Maybe that's where we start.
It's the easiest place to start, isn't it? I mean, that's what the whole hook is for today's show. Like, is it time to sell Haaland? And the best place to start that is in this chat, I think. So get the poll up.
Solanke. We can buy Solanke, who plays in the next 2 game weeks. Haaland, of course, misses game week 18. We know that for a fact. So if you're voting yes, and you might go, look, we don't know. We don't know if he's fit or not. You do know he misses game week 18. So maybe that will help your decision. Where is CH? I'm not sure, British 87. We do miss CH when she's not around for these streams.
Yeah.
Do we sell Haaland in the Chaser 11 this game week? Yes or no? I'm going to vote yeah. I think we take a gamble on without the news, with the information we have. The fact is, close family in FPL all sold him. They've got to know more, haven't they? They've got to know that he's out for a couple of weeks. Saudi Arabia is a big game for him as well, isn't it? Playing in Saudi, Middle Eastern owners, Club World Cup.
It is, isn't it?
Keep him fresh.
They'll want him to play. They'll want him to play at that, but we don't know. It's all guesswork at the moment. Is the poll up yet? I'm just looking.
It's up. Did we take a -8 a few weeks ago to bring Haaland into our team?
Was it a -8?
Sure. Was it a minus? Did we take a -4 to bring Haaland?
It was only a 4.
We sold Son to do it.
Oh my god. This Chasers team hasn't had much luck, it has to be said. Right, let me get involved in this chat. Do we sell Haaland in the Chaser 11? I'm going to say no.
Are you? Where would you make?
I mean, I'm going to lose, but
oh yeah, let's see then. Let's see what are we at the moment.
We're at 64% sell.
Oh, get voting, guys. When you click and vote, if you're allowed to vote, you're allowed to hit the like button. That's how having a YouTube account works.
Yeah, even I've done it. 80 likes so far. Come on, we can do better than that.
Aston Villa Bossy says this will mean 4 transfers on Haaland in 6 weeks. Outrageous behaviour.
That is bad planning, people, and that's bad luck as well.
This is not my team. This is not Dean's team. This is our producer team who has given up his team for a season so you guys can be experimental and go on punts like Garnacho.
That's the last time he does that.
Yeah, and Alvarez hasn't been brilliant for us. He's ticked along, but we want more. We might get a big Alvarez haul this week. If Haaland doesn't start versus Palace, you got Alvarez playing number 9. That could be a 12-pointer, you know?
Honestly, like Alvarez has got to be a player that I've been most disappointed with since bringing him in, because I thought having him and Haaland up top, I've had him for a while now. He's had like the occasional 5-pointer, Alvarez, but like not giving me anything proper along the way. And when you consider like early stages of the season, there was a 14-pointer against Fulham, but other times he was getting like a 7, a 9, an 8, another 9. Like there was some nice little pickups.
Yeah,
just gone away. A bit annoying.
They voted yes. So let's give 2 options. No, let's give 3. Solanke, Watkins, but seeing as we've been talking about him, it's got to be Jimenez, isn't it?
It's got to be.
So, all right. Well, whoever you go for here, I mean, Watkins would be a bit of a boring pick, but Solanke and Jimenez, proper differentials. By the way, guys, we could go, if you don't go Watkins, you could go Watkins next week because you could go Alvarez out for Watkins next week, for example. So we'll have loads of money. We'll have unlimited funds. Cunha, we can't go Cunha. If you want to add a 4th of Cunha, we might be able to if it's not too late. But I don't think many flip VT will be going Cunha. But we can chuck him in if you want to go for a 4th asset.
Yeah, may as well. We'll wait for that to pop up. It's there right now. Who do we replace Haaland with? Solanke,
I'm going DS9.
Watkins, Jimenez, or Cunha. My 5th choice would have been Calvert-Lewin, I think.
I forgot about DCL. He'll just get injured after a week, though, won't he?
Possibly, but he hasn't for about 5 weeks now.
Fair.
He actually looks like he might be. He might have had some iron rods fitted inside him or something, because he's been managing to get on the pitch.
Maybe
most
his
week.
contract's up soon or something. He wants a new deal.
Right, I voted for Jimenez, obviously, because it's not my team, and I like to vote for Fulham players, but not when it's my own team. But Solanke is winning by a landslide at the moment.
DS9. Come on, Dom Solanke. Are we going to captain him? Are we going to captain Salah? I
Oh,
guess we've
that
got to do
is
a
going to be
vote,
the
haven't
next question, isn't it? I mean, yeah, captaincy for this team. So Solanke will be transferred in place of Haaland, and then it's going to be Solanke, Salah. You going to throw anybody else into the mix?
I don't know, Alvarez?
Yeah,
Should we give him as an option?
could do. Darwin?
Yeah, that could be the 4. Guys, you have voted to keep or to buy Dom Solanke, Prime DS9 for Erling Haaland. We now have unlimited funds, and we've already had $1 million in the bank. We can do whatever we want next week. It's going to be fun. We're not going to be taking hits, though. The starting 11 is set because we've got Trippier and Branthwaite, 2 of the players that are suspended. I've just realised we don't have a goalkeeper. Oh, no, we do. We do. They're flagged, but I think Areola's back in training. So let's start Sanchez in goal because he's got the better fixture. But worst case scenario, Areola should come in. The back 3 is Tsimikas, Gabriel, Lascelles. The attacking 8, we will bench, I think, Garnacho, and we'll play Gordon. And then if Gordon's injured, Garnacho comes in. But captaincy, let's vote between Salah, Solanke, Alvarez, and Darwin. 4-way split.
Yeah, it's going to be. Is it going to be tight? I'm not sure it is.
I think Solanke might get quite a bit of love having seen that last vote. Yeah, Luton at home.
Yeah.
There's usually quite a few Man United fans in the chat. Might not want to go Salah.
Yeah, I just assume that Salah will win it quite easily, but we shall see. Get voting right now.
You're right. You called it.
As it happened. Oh yeah, 58% Salah. The rest of it spread out. Maybe we gave too many options there because the others are too spread out. Maybe it would have been closer if we just went Solanke v Salah. Maybe that would have clawed it in a bit. If you could add up,
it's still not. It's not
still
more
not
than 50,
going to. Yeah, I mean, Salah's got 61%, so he still would have won anyway if you add up all the other votes together. So Salah is easily going to.
I've enjoyed that. That was a fun chaser to selection this week.
That was quite straightforward as well,
wasn't it? When we start making 2-3 moves, it's very tricky with all the combinations. But
no CH, no problem, mate.
Oh my God, poor CH, you're so right. Both your goalkeepers are yellow flagged, yes, but Areola was pictured in training yesterday with strapping on his wrist, so he's back in training. He could play tonight, even if he doesn't. I think he'll be fine this weekend. Mm-hmm. And there's a chance Sanchez is fine too. Don't worry too much about the goalkeepers, guys. We'd be very unlucky for both to miss out. And if you've got Areola in your team, just know that he has returned to training. And again, check out that West Ham team news tonight. If he's good enough for the bench, he'll be good enough to start against Wolves on Saturday, Sunday, whenever it is. Good job. We've still got a couple of minutes left to do a couple of quick fire questions. Get them in, guys. Likes and subscribe. So welcome. Have we hit the holy grail of 100 likes? That's always the question I ask.
Let's have a look, shall we?
90. 90.
No.
Come on. 10 of you.
We will get sacked if we do not get 100 likes. This will be the last ever show of Chasing Green Arrows. If you don't give us those likes in the next 3.5 minutes, this will be the last time you see me and G on the same screen.
Imagine. That's going to be an emotional day, mate, when that comes.
That day's never coming, is it?
Well,
we're going to get the likes we need every single week.
I mean, it's been a good journey so far, isn't it?
I'd love to believe that me and you,
over a year,
at 70 years old, we'll be sat here with the same community,
pushing for super chats.
That's my dream life, mate. Maybe we'll be somewhere else. Like you'll be. What's your dream place to live?
Oh, I'd have finally lived in Italy. I can then claim I'm a proper Italian.
You'll have your dream little gaff in Italy. I'll be somewhere on a beach in America. We'll have a much better backdrop. We'll be sitting there like old men, more than content. Right, after I've just jabbered on, let's see if we've hit it. We've done it.
Come on.
Oh, we shall not be moved.
Generous, guys. 18 of you hit that button. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Zubin says, us engaged managers, does the abundance of information make us overthink? Overthink? Us keen FPL, man? Never. No. That's not me. I don't know if it's you, Zubin, but never overthink anything in FPL.
Zubin, it costs me all the time, mate, because my main mini league with my mates, they all just make drunk decisions. They make silly decisions. They make bedtime decisions. And somehow I'm like 7th or something in that league, and it's very frustrating.
They even use the app to make their transfers. That's how casual they are. Oh, flipping. Isak to Alvarez. I mean, do we think Isak now? Like, he'll start because Wilson played the Champions League, but it's going to be a willy won't he every week, isn't it?
It's going to be a willy won't he? I mean, Isak to Alvarez. It seems like a weird time to flip onto Alvarez, given, yes, this one week, but then the week after Alvarez isn't playing. So,
Solanke.
Yeah.
Or well, I prefer Solanke or Watkins as options to Alvarez, even with Alvarez versus Palace. Like, don't just think Alvarez playing number 9 means he's going to get Haaland points. He didn't against Luton, and he played number 9. He's a very different number 9 to Haaland, clearly.
Yeah, true. Sam says Gusto in wildcard team, not playing him this weekend. I mean, he's got to be, hasn't he? I mean, I saw a couple of people had suggested recently that Gusto might be sold. I mean, I can't see that. Yeah, I mean, I can't see that at all.
Chelsea need him more than ever.
And even when he's come in, he's done all right.
Yeah,
I've quite liked him. He's almost unfortunate to lose his spot again. Reece James not going to be back for the foreseeable. Sad because I don't like Chelsea, but I do like Reece James and
Beast. Good,
absolutely. Yeah.
Diego Carlos or Doji? Go with Doji. Higher upside. Although look, Villa defense is clearly very good, but a Doji for me. Diego Carlos is vulnerable. He's been playing really well, but there is a world in which in easier fixtures, Matty Cash does get the nod at right back. And when he does, Konza's one of Emery's boys. Konza will start with Pau Torres at centre back, and Carlos could drop out. Although, I think you're good for Carlos. I don't think he'd be the Villa defender I'd buy. Would you sell Gordon to Son? I mean, if you said, is Son still a buy, Dean? You get 4 weeks of him before the Asia Cup.
I think
4 good weeks.
Yeah. 4 good weeks. That's the thing. Like 4 good weeks is a long time, and that could be a lot of points. Like 40 points potentially, quite easily. Like, is Gordon going to pick up that many points across the next 4 game weeks? I think he is. So, go for some for the upside and then ditch him.
Oh, I love that nuclear. Yeah, that's the dream. Nuclear. Dean will be in a beach in Miami, and Gianni will be. Have a pizza shop in Naples.
Mate, I think we'd both cash out on that, wouldn't we? Blimey.
Yes, please.
My threats did work. We got 120 likes in the end. So
you're gonna have to threaten that more often, mate.
Yeah. Treat every show like it's our last.
Maybe we could threaten that with subscriptions as well. What number are we on? Are we close to like a round number? 6.61. We need to get to 7k subs by Christmas or we're out.
The problem is all these people here already do it, so they've got to go and find friends and find their phone and then subscribe so they can still watch it themselves.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, we like those double watchers.
By the way, if you have access to any other phones, just make sure that those people are subscribed, or YouTube accounts. Go and subscribe them to Chasing Green Arrows. It'd be great.
Love that.
It's not illegal.
Yeah, exactly. We're all friends here. When will we be back, Dean? Is there Monday? I've not even looked. Does the game week finish on a Sunday this week? I hope it does.
It does, mate. Yeah, I think it does. I think we got a full normal weekend of fixtures. The last game will be the Liverpool Man United one on Sunday. So yeah, all be cleared up by the Monday.
Oh Christ! But the Thursday deadline next week, mate. Have you seen that?
Why?
There's a Thursday night game.
Crystal Palace Brighton on Thursday. Why?
So we might be doing the same again next week. This Thursday slot will be like a deadline stream.
Yeah, we might well be as well. I'll be in the Christmas holidays as well. The kids aren't at school from Monday.
Oh God.
Maybe they'll be on the stream. I don't know what I'm going to do with them.
I thought you said they'd be on the street.
They might be if they misbehave, mate. Harsh rules.
Yeah, Daddy's streaming now. Go play on the road in -3 conditions. Good. Well, look, Dean and I will be back on Monday and very likely Thursday afternoon at some point.
Yeah. Maybe.
And stay tuned to Chasing Green Arrows. Guys, may your arrows be green. For now, he's been Dean, I've been Gianni, and we've been Chasing Green Arrows. See you later.